Hey everyone, welcome to Area 616. Earlier this year, it came as a big surprise to everyone when the news came out that Marvel Studios is developing an Eternals film for Phase 4. Quite simply just because they're obscure, even by comic standards. And not in the way that the Guardians of the Galaxy were or Ant-Man was. I mean, it's the kind of obscure that half of the comics community doesn't know they existed, and the other half knew about them but didn't know most of their names. But we are getting this movie. It's in the earliest stages of production, but it is chugging right along. Kevin Feige was asked about it not too long ago, and he said that they were indeed making it, and that it would be like Guardians of the Galaxy, where they reinvented an obscure franchise. So I'm interested, and I certainly have faith in Marvel, but I'm honestly not sure what kind of role the Eternals could play in the MCU moving forward. It'll be interesting to see, but the other day that hashtag show posted an exclusive casting call for the Eternals, which reportedly revealed which characters would be in the film. That hashtag show actually does have some good history to it, as most recently they've correctly broken casting news for DC's Swamp Thing TV series and HBO's Game of Thrones prequel series. However, they aren't perfect. You look up any of their videos claiming to have Civil War spoilers, and it's kind of hilariously wrong. So this should of course be taken with a grain of salt, and it could very well be fake. Or it could be true. So here's what we do know about the Eternals. A couple of things. First, there is a director attached, Chloe Zhou. Like a lot of Marvel's directors, she's an up-and-coming talent. She's only made 2 feature-length films to date, Songs My Brothers Taught Me, and most recently The Writer. Both of these are indie drama films. It's an interesting choice for director, but these have pretty much always paid off for Marvel. It's nice to see them dipping into the talent pool a lot further than most studios would. Anyway, we also know that it is eyeing a September 2019 filming start date. So with that in mind, we should start getting casting updates around spring or so. And I think this confirms the reports that the Eternals will be hitting theaters on November 6th, 2020. That also confirms Black Widow's release on May 1st, 2020, as that was in the same report. But that's a whole other video. The movie is said to draw a ton of inspiration from Jack Kirby's original work, but also taking some themes from Neil Gaiman's miniseries from 2007. The series saw the Eternals on Earth living as humans with no memories of their past lives, or the fact that they are millions of years old. I'm hoping to get my hands on a copy of the story to familiarize myself with the characters more in time for the movie. I've heard it's a great starting place for the Eternals. I imagine we could see the movie have a very similar story. It allows for a great jumping on point. Despite being so obscure, the Eternals have a very vast and rich and complicated history, so having them rediscover it with new eyes would help the audience a lot. Okay, now we're getting to the character list. If I have a casting suggestion for any of them, I'll include it here too. The first one mentioned on the list is Karen. Yeah, that's right. Karen decided to leave Nelson, Murdoch, and Paige behind and go live with some space gods. Typical Karen. How long do you think it'll be before she gets somebody killed by Fisk? I'm gonna say a week. Okay, jokes aside, her name is actually Karen. It's not Karen Page, obviously. They're looking for an actress in her early 30s who has a timeless, international feel. She's said to be powerful, timeless, and a natural leader. Warm, nurturing, and intuitive. Just from the fact that she's named Karen, it makes me think she's a new character, maybe a human caught up in the craziness of the Eternals. In the original Kirby storyline, there are 2 human characters, a doctor named Daniel Damian, and his daughter Margot. They have an assistant named Ike Harris, who turns out to be the eternal Icarus in disguise. Damien and Margot were looking for the legendary God Chamber, tomb of the space gods, aka the Celestials. The Celestials, as you probably know by now, created the Eternals and Deviants, so they should tie heavily into this movie. I think Karen could potentially be a combination of Margot and Damien. The next one on the list is a male described only as a Greek god. Lots of speculation on this, but I'm thinking it could be Hercules. He might seem a little random for this movie, the Eternals have a lot of connections to the Greek gods of Olympus that I imagine we'll see expanded on in the film. It would be really cool to see Hercules here, but I should mention it could also just be a code name for one of the characters on the list, like Icarus. Same goes for Karen. Next on the list is the film's villain, Druig. He apparently plays a big role in Gaiman's run. He has all of the abilities typical Eternals do. He can manipulate his own atomic structure, but he can also teleport and perform mind control. He was apparently an agent for the KGB for a little while in the comics. It'll be interesting to see what he's like. I hope Marvel keeps up their recent trend of great villains and makes him actually interesting. Next, the film is looking to cast a 10 to 16-year-old female for Piper, a smart and charismatic presence with a magnetic personality. She's wise beyond her years, articulate, and quick-witted. My guess is this is a reimagining of Sprite, a similar young Eternal. My personal casting choice for this is Millie Bobby Brown. I'd love to see her in the MCU at some point, and this sounds like a good fit for her. The next one is an actress, 20 to 40, for Alicia. She is different from the other Eternals, as she is an artificial being created by Isaac, the sentient computer system that lives on Titan. She serves as Isaac's lieutenant. Next is the Forgotten One, aka Gilgamesh. This character is interesting as he was actually an Avenger in the past, but no one really remembers that about him, so the name's pretty fitting. He was banished out of Titan by Zuraz, I'll get to him, for being too willing to interact with humans. My personal choice here is John Boyega. He's an awesome actor, and while he's my number one choice for Blade, it'd be cool to see him here too. Next is Icarus, a male 20 to 40 years old. He was the lead of the original Kirby run, so I imagine he could be the male lead of this as well. He's a very powerful Eternal. He has complete control over his entire being. He has some psychic abilities too, like mind reading and mental illusions. My choice is either Charlie Hunnam or Henry Cavill. Next is Macquarie, an Eternal speedster. He's basically the tech genius. This one's a bit harder. It could really be anyone, but I'm thinking Eddie Redmayne. Next is Cersei, who has been reported in the past to be the female lead of the film. Like Gilgamesh, she has also been an Avenger, but she was a bit more high profile than he was. She desires to live among humans and is practically immortal. My top choice for her is Sofia Boutella. Next on this large cast list is Starfox, probably one of the more famous Eternals. He has also been an Avenger. Turns out that's pretty common for Eternals. And his power is the ability to tap into the pleasure centers of people's brains, making them open to persuasion. It's not quite mind control, but kind of mind control. Probably the most interesting aspect of Starfox is that he is the brother of none other than Thanos himself. Yes, I know, they don't look anything alike, but that's because Thanos is an Eternal, but he was born with the Deviant Syndrome, which is why he's, well, ugly. It's also why he's so powerful and able to wield the Infinity Gauntlet. His Eternal genes give him that. On a side note, it's kind of interesting that there aren't any deviants listed here, being as how it's such a big part of the Eternals lore. Eros' inclusion here is really interesting and points to the possibility that they might explore Thanos' eternal bloodline, which makes me wonder, could we see Thanos make an appearance? Personally, I'd love to see Thanos play a role past Avengers 4. It would probably be more thematically satisfying for Thanos to die, sure, but I definitely wouldn't mind him continuing to play a role in the MCU moving forward. My top choice for Starfox is Matthew McConaughey, although that's also my top choice for Norman Osborn, so I don't know. Plan B is James Franco. Both are pretty high-profile actors, of course, but I think that's right for Starfox. Okay, two left. The next one is Thena. Remember when I said the Eternals have connections to Greek gods? Her original name was Azura, but it was changed by her father to Thena to resemble Athena, to further solidify their peace treaty with the Greek gods. Also, many Eternals live in a city on Earth called Olympia, which is located in ancient Greece. My choice for her is Emily Blunt. The last character on the list is Zuraz, Thena's father, and the uncle of Thanos. He was chosen to become the leader of the Eternals on Earth after he created the ritual of the Unimind. The Unimind, from what I can understand, is the combined strength, skill, and intelligence of all Eternals. It's sort of like a guide, maybe? All of the articles about the Eternals on Marvel Wikia are pretty vague. You just sort of have to fill in the blanks. So, if I'm being honest, I don't really know what the Unimind is. Anyway, my top choice for Zuraz is Jared Harris. So there you have it, the reported character list for the Eternals. To quickly recap, Karen, an unnamed Greek god who may or may not be Hercules, Druig, Piper, Elysius, Gilgamesh, Icarus, Makari, Circe, Starfox, Thena, and Zuraz. It's quite a cast of characters. I'm really interested in this film. Obviously, taking obscure characters and making them household names is Marvel's bread and butter. But these characters, I don't know. I just can't imagine the role they're going to play moving forward, as they've always been so isolated in the comics, cut off from the rest of the Marvel Universe, although I'm sure that'll change around next fall. I'm optimistic, but I have no expectations of this film. I'm hoping after I actually read some comics about them, I'll be able to get a better grip on who the Eternals are. But for now, I just hope it's a good movie. I feel like at this point, especially after Avengers 4, Marvel has to be very careful. One trip up, one bad movie could really mess everything up, and I just hope this isn't that. But what do you guys think? Are you excited for the Eternals? What kind of roles do you think they should play in the MCU? Let me know all your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.
There's a road I'd like to tell you about, lives in my hometown. Lakeshore Drive, the road is called